Good morning. It is a great day here at Grand Central Station. We just had the opportunity to welcome happy commuters coming in on the Hudson line, which is now reopened. What this area went through with a 1,000-year storm event over the past 72 hours was extraordinary. And for these lines to be open, the Hudson line, fully open now, Amtrak now fully open, going all the way up to Albany, is nothing short of extraordinary. And I wanted to come here today and talk about how far we've come, what we had to endure, and the resiliency of the system, the people, and our opportunity to make sure we continue to deliver world-class service to our commuters. I want to thank Jan Lieber, the CEO and chairman of the MTA, who's been on guard every minute since the rain started falling to make sure that we could get service back to normal as soon as humanly possible. Catherine Rinaldi, you and your teams did an amazing job, given that this easily could have taken not just weeks, days, but weeks to be able to restore the full service. And as I saw in the faces of our commuters who are now back to work here in Midtown, they are so grateful of the extraordinary effort done by you, our crews, our workers, the union workers who were such an important part of this. But let's talk about what we went through. We had flooding, we had boulders on the tracks, we had debris, trees down. There was complete blockage and stoppage of our tracks. And Jano can describe more in detail what the effect was. But this was an area that is vulnerable to these storms because of its proximity to the river and its position down a ravine. So what we're going to continue doing is monitoring, making sure that people are aware of circumstances, because the last thing we ever want to have is a situation where people are stranded on a track. What happened last Sunday? 300 individuals were on a train that had to be stopped because of the damage and the destruction that was wreaked upon the tracks. We had to work so hard to get those people to safety. They all received an opportunity to get transportation back to their destination. It was hard for these individuals. It had to be a frightening circumstance, but they all endured, and we were there to help them. And I want to thank all the emergency crews, state, local, and county, who were there to help rescue these individuals as well. We are also making sure that going forward, our citizens are aware that they will monitor their cell phone alerts. They'll pay attention to the weather alerts, because I cannot stand here and say this will be the last time that we have a weather event like we just went through. As I walk the streets of the lower Hudson Valley, the streets of Orange County, all the way up to Ontario County, the devastation we saw because of unprecedented rain, 9 inches in a matter of hours, was extraordinary. Thank God the storm moved on, and now I spoke to the governor of Vermont yesterday to offer our assistance, because unfortunately we are very skilled in having to deal with storms of this magnitude. But I want, once again, today is about returning to normal. To all the commuters who's had their lives disrupted as we had to work feverishly through day and night to get the tracks restored to normal levels, I want to thank them for their patience. I want to thank all the businesses who were disrupted during this period. But as I was saying, this could have been such a longer process. And people did not anticipate that not just the Hudson line, where we just greeted visitors and our commuters today, but also Amtrak. No one could have foreseen that it would be open on the Wednesday after this horrific storm over the past few days. So I'm grateful to everybody who was involved in this Herculean effort, and I want to turn it over to Jano Lieber and thank him for all he has done as well.
Governor, thank you for your leadership, especially in these incredible, challenging moments. You and I have weathered some big storms together, and that ain't just a metaphor. It was almost 2 years ago when, barely a week into your governorship, Hurricane Ida rocked the region and had a huge impact on Metro North, especially. And now here we are in the aftermath of what you rightly described as yet another 1,000-year weather event. This is happening a lot, and unfortunately, we're having to get pretty good at it. This time, again, the MTA teams stepped up and put the railroad back on track. I have to thank hundreds and hundreds of Metro North workers, the MTA construction development team, outside contractors. People worked all through the night and all through the day, some people working 24 hours consecutively to put the railroad back together again. On the screen, you're seeing some of the conditions that they faced. There were boulders on the track, trees all over the track, and probably most highest impact, there were washouts. Remember, these tracks are adjacent to the Hudson River, and they're down some steep inclines, so the water is pouring down on them, and it's washing out the structure of the track, making it impossible. The track wants to be in the river, as you see, but look at what they accomplished to put the railroad back together again. Governor, emergency management has been one of the hallmarks of your governorship. Some of it is dictated by circumstance. We've faced these rain events, extreme heat events, massive snowstorms upstate and throughout New York State. And you've made it a priority for us to be ready and to know how to take action when those events happen. And thanks in part to your leadership on this issue, the MTA team this time worked even faster than under Hurricane Ida. What took us a week, we did in 2 days. And yesterday, just less than 48 hours after the storm, we had 93% of our customers on Metro North getting service. Yesterday, 93% of Metro North customers had service, and today we are restoring service to all Metro North stations. That is amazing. Credit to Kathy Rinaldi. I don't know if everybody recognizes this, but Kathy Rinaldi leads both MTA railroads. I always say she's doing the job of two men and hitting it out of the park. So Kathy, thank you. Listen, as we continue to experience more frequent extreme weather events, and it seems to be what's happening, we encourage riders to look at the MTA Train Time app or the MTA website to keep up with what's going on. Literally this week, we launched a new additional customer alert operation by text. So I just want to mention that you can sign up for real-time updates on your specific line, whatever train you ride, whatever bus you ride, so you know if it's being disrupted by one of these events. So you text ALERT, capital ALERT, to 511-682. So text to 511-682 ALERT, and you can customize your weather and disruption alerts. We're excited to be able to provide this additional service to our customers. And thank you again, Governor, for your tremendous leadership.
So you got the word. The trains are back. And under normal circumstances, this is quite extraordinary, and Kathy Rinaldi gets a lot of credit for this. These trains have been running 97% on time, except for when there's a 1,000-year weather event. So I want to commend you once again for doing what we have all thought was so important, is giving reliability, exceptional service to our commuters and our customers. So with that, we'll be happy to take any questions.
All right, Janice, you back there in the green from WABC.
Hi there, Governor.
Hi, Janice.
So we had a chance to kind of look at all of the damage that happened on the Hudson line, and it looks like, again, it's inevitable that something like this is going to happen again just because of where the rail is situated. Anything in progress for long-term fixes? Again, I know it's hard because the river's right there, the water's coming through, but looking years ahead, is there anything that can be done to ensure that this doesn't happen again and again every time we have a weather event?
Right, and that's a good question because the vulnerability is so exposed. We know these tracks, which have been there for 100 years, are in a situation where they're connecting communities, but the thought of moving the tracks away from the water would also be a major challenge and be disruptive. So I don't know if there's been any talk about that, but it seems to me that it'd be a real challenge to do that and successfully serve those communities that have literally been built up around the tracks and around the stations, and this is their lifeline, this is their connection to their jobs and to their lives. And so I don't foresee that happening, but we have the opportunity to build up resiliency in terms of the shoreline, in terms of the hills, the ravines. So that is something we should be looking at given, again, I've been governor less than 2 years. This is the second massive event where we've had to shut down service because of our tracks being literally obliterated for a short time, you know, with Mother Nature throwing everything she's got at it. So an interesting thought, but I don't foresee anything like that could happen in real time. Sure.
Well, one of the things that we do always after these type of events is we look at water management, where the water's coming from and what is causing it to come at such a furious rate into areas where it creates risk to the basic infrastructure. After Hurricane Ida, with the governor's leadership, we went around to every subway station that had flooding and looked systematically, where's the water coming from? Why is it getting into the station? Working mostly with the city. We do the same thing with the local authorities who are up on the hill of the Hudson line after these water events to see if we can capture water and divert water more effectively. But, you know, Mother Nature has her own plans, and frequently it will find ways to get water down to the river, even with great water management systems.
Hi.
Good morning. Is there any estimate number, a cost for what was the damage that happened specifically on Metro North?
The cleanup costs?
The cleanup cost, just the damage cost?
Do you have any estimates, Kathy?
Yeah.
It's probably premature at this time.
I don't have a number yet. We're calculating that. We haven't.
But also, I will say, statewide, I have no doubt that we're going to hit the threshold of over $35 million of damage from the storm for us to be able to apply for that disaster declaration and reimbursement from the federal government. And our costs associated with this cleanup will be part of that calculation. So that sometimes takes weeks to do. And I know it takes a while to get the money reimbursed. When we had the Buffalo blizzard, we applied immediately, and it took till March to get the reimbursement. So to the communities larger than just what we're talking about here today, but the many communities that I visited that were so devastated by this storm are looking for support, they should know that we are aggressively doing the calculations of the costs right now. We'll get those submitted to the federal government, and I can anticipate reimbursements will help with this cleanup as well.
All right, thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.